The world you now occupy with all its conditions and circumstances is nothing more than the objectification of your past assumptions. Your current reality, every detail of it, was once merely an assumption in your consciousness. And just as your present world was born of assumption, so too shall your future world be determined by the assumptions you dare to entertain now. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, instructs the scripture. This transformation occurs not through external effort, but through the deliberate revision of your inner assumptions. For consciousness is the one and only reality, and your assumptions determine the state of that consciousness. Tonight, I will reveal the art of assumption, how to use your divine gift of imagination to manifest anything you desire. Not as something to be achieved through struggle or toil, but as something to be appropriated through the power of consciousness itself. The fundamental law. The fundamental law of consciousness can be stated simply: consciousness is the only reality. All phenomenal circumstances, conditions, and events of your life are but the outward picturings of inner states of consciousness. As within, so without, declared the ancient Hermetic text. This is not mere poetry, but cosmic law. The world you experience is forever mirroring back to you your own states of consciousness. This mirror never lies, never distorts, but reflects with perfect fidelity the assumptions you hold to be true. When you declare, I am poor, I am unloved, I am unworthy, you are making an assumption about your being, and that assumption persisted in will harden into fact. Likewise, when you dare to assume, I am wealthy, I am loved, I am worthy, these assumptions too will objectify themselves in your world. Many seek to change their lives by manipulating effects, by struggling against external conditions. This is folly, for the outer world is but shadow. You cannot change your reflection by attacking the mirror. You must change what is being reflected. The only place you can exercise genuine power is within your own consciousness. Change the assumption, and you change the reflection. The outer must conform to the inner. This is law. The creative power of imagination. Your imagination is not a faculty for daydreaming or escapism. It is the very workshop wherein you fashion the patterns of your existence. In scripture, it is called the Son of God, for it's through imagination that God, pure consciousness, performs his creative acts. Man is all imagination, I tell you, and God is man, and exists in us, and we in him. This divine imagination is the Redeemer, the Savior of which the scriptures speak. Not a man who lived 2,000 years ago, but the creative power that dwells within you now. When you imagine, you are performing the most divine function of your being. Through imagination, you can transcend the limitations of physical sense and enter into states of consciousness that physical effort could never achieve. Through imagination, you can be and do and have anything. Consider a simple experiment. Close your eyes and imagine yourself in a place other than where you now sit. Make it vivid. Feel the temperature, smell the aromas, hear the sounds of this imagined place. In that moment, where are you? Though your body remains in your chair, your consciousness is elsewhere. And consciousness, being the only reality, means that you are, in that moment, actually there in the state you are imagining. This same principle applies to states of wealth, of health, of love, of achievement. To imagine yourself wealthy is to occupy the state of wealth in consciousness. Persist in this state, and the outer circumstances must reshape themselves to match this inner reality. The art of assumption? Now we come to the practical application of this great truth. How does one use the power of assumption to manifest desires? First, clarify what you would like to be. Not what you think is possible based on your past or present circumstances, but what you would love to be if all limitations were removed. Second, construct an imaginal scene that implies the fulfillment of this desire. If you seek wealth, what scene would naturally follow if you were wealthy? Perhaps the congratulations of a friend, or the feeling of writing a generous check without concern for your balance. If you seek health, what would you be doing if you were perfectly well? If you seek love, what intimate moment would exist if your love were fulfilled? Third, and this is crucial, enter a state akin to sleep, where the critical faculties of your mind are subdued. In this drowsy state, enact your imaginal scene. Do not merely visualize it as a picture outside yourself, but step into it as a participant. Feel it as real. Experience the textures, the sounds, the emotions of your scene. Fourth, repeat this imaginal act until it bears the feeling of reality. When your imaginal scene feels as solid and real as any physical experience, you have successfully assumed the state of your wish fulfilled. The secret is to persist until your assumption has the feel of reality. It matters not how long this takes, a day, a week, a month. What matters is the feeling of naturalness. When your desired state feels more real than your physical circumstances, the die is cast. Your physical reality must then conform to this new assumption. An assumption, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. Remember these words. The falsity of your assumption is only relative to your present physical circumstances. In the realm of consciousness, where all things truly exist, your assumption is already fact. By persisting in it, you allow it to harden into physical fact as well. The Sabbath of consciousness. Once you have attained the feeling of your wish fulfilled, once your assumption feels natural, you enter what Scripture calls the Sabbath. This is not a day of the week, but a state of consciousness. It is the rest that follows completed work. In this Sabbath state, you cease all effort, all anxiety, all concern for your desire. Why? Because in consciousness the work is done. To continue to seek or strive would be to deny the truth of your assumption, because that you do not have what you have claimed in consciousness. Many fail in their manifestations because they do not honor the Sabbath. They perform their imaginal act, but then continue to think and act from the old state. They continue to see lack where they should see fulfillment, illness where they should see health, loneliness where they should see love. The Sabbath demands faith, not faith in some external power, but faith in the reality of your own consciousness. The Father and I are one, said the Christ. Your consciousness, the Father, and your imagination, the Son, are one creative power. Trust this power. Rest in the knowledge that what you have assumed in consciousness must, by cosmic law, objectify itself. During this Sabbath, you live from your assumption, not for it. You do not anxiously await its manifestation. You live as though it has already manifested. This subtle shift in consciousness is what separates those who manifest their desires from those who remain forever seeking. Dear love of revision, let us speak now of revision, a most powerful application of the law of assumption. Your past, contrary to common belief, is not fixed. It is fluid, subject to the power of consciousness, just as your future is. Each night before sleep, review the events of your day. Any event that was less than perfect, revise it in your imagination. See it not as it occurred, but as you would have wished it to occur. Feel the naturalness, the reality of this revised scene. This practice serves two profound purposes. First, it trains your creative faculty to reshape reality according to your desires. Second, it actually rewrites the patterns in consciousness that would otherwise perpetuate undesirable conditions. Though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. This is not the promise of an external savior, but the revelation of your own power to revise the past through the faculty of imagination. Remember always that time is a construct of consciousness. Past, present, and future exist simultaneously in the eternal now. By revising the past in imagination, you alter the patterns that extend into what you perceive as future. Many wonder how this can be. How can imagining an event differently change what has already occurred? The answer lies in understanding that nothing has already occurred in the realm of consciousness. All events, past, present, and future, are simply states of consciousness, accessible and alterable through the power of imagination. The pruning shears of revision. Revision acts as pruning shears on the branches of your manifestation. Just as a gardener prunes a plant to direct its growth, so you prune your consciousness through revision to direct the manifestation of your desires. When you revise an unpleasant encounter with a colleague, transforming it in imagination to a harmonious exchange, you are pruning away a branch of consciousness that would have borne bitter fruit. In its place, you graft a new branch that will bear sweet fruit. This practice requires discipline, for the mind naturally gravitates toward what has been experienced through the senses. Yet, with persistence, you will find that your revised version begins to feel more real than the original experience. When this occurs, you have successfully altered the pattern in consciousness. Apply revision not only to recent events, but to formative experiences from your distant past. Those childhood traumas, those early rejections or failures, all can be revised in consciousness. See them not as they seem to occur, but as you would have wished them to occur. Feel the emotional relief of this revision. Persist until the revised version displaces the original in your emotional memory. By faithful practice of revision, you literally recreate your world. For your world is nothing more than the objectification of the sum total of your conscious and subconscious assumptions. The tale of two beliefs. Consider two individuals facing identical circumstances. Both have lost their employment. Both have bills to pay and families to support. Yet one falls into despair while the other maintains an unshakable confidence. What separates these two? Nothing but their assumptions. The first assumes that loss of employment means hardship, struggle, perhaps even ruin. And so that assumption hardens into fact, and hardship follows hardship. The second assumes that this apparent setback is but the clearing of the way for something better. This one assumes abundance regardless of temporary conditions. And so doors open, opportunities appear. And abundance manifests not despite the loss of employment, but because consciousness cannot be bound by external circumstance. I tell you this tale not to suggest that mere positive thinking will resolve your problems. No, what I propose is far more fundamental. It is not about superimposing positive thoughts over negative circumstances. It is about recognizing that circumstances themselves have no meaning, no power, except that which your assumption gives them. When you truly grasp this, you will never again be a victim of circumstance. You will know yourself as the creator of circumstance, and in that knowing lies freedom beyond measure. The law of identical harvest. As you sow, so shall you reap. This ancient truth speaks not of external actions, but of the seeds planted in consciousness. Your assumptions are these seeds, and they must, by cosmic law, bear fruit after their kind. If you plant assumptions of lack, you will harvest lack. If you plant assumptions of abundance, you will harvest abundance. This is not subject to your belief in it, just as gravity does not require your belief to operate. It is simply the way the universe is structured. The seed you plant in consciousness today will bear fruit in your tomorrows. There is no escape from this law, no exception to it. Your current harvest, the conditions of your present life, were sown by your past assumptions, conscious or unconscious. But take heart, for just as a farmer who has planted one crop can plant another in the next season, so you can plant new assumptions today, regardless of what you have planted before. The soil of consciousness is eternally fertile, ready to receive whatever seeds you choose to plant. If your current harvest displeases you, do not waste time in regret or self-condemnation. These are useless expenditures of consciousness. Instead, plant new seeds through new assumptions. Assume the best, the highest, the most noble, and that is what you will harvest in turn. The secret of feeling. The secret of effective assumption lies in feeling. Your assumption must be drenched in feeling to take root in consciousness. Intellectual acceptance is not enough. You must feel the reality of your assumption. Consider how you feel about the facts of your life, your name, your family relationships, your home. There is a distinct feeling of mindness, of reality, that accompanies these facts. This same feeling must accompany your assumption if it is to harden into fact. How do you achieve this feeling? Through the consistent practice of living from your assumption. When you assume you are wealthy, ask yourself, how would I feel if this were true? How would I walk, talk, plan my day? What thoughts would occupy my mind? Then embody these feelings and thoughts. At first, this may seem like self-deception. But remember, what you are calling reality is itself nothing more than the precipitation of past assumptions. You are not lying to yourself. You are exercising your divine prerogative to choose which truth you will live from. With practice, your new assumption will develop the feeling of naturalness. And when it feels as natural to be your desired self as it once felt to be your former self, the transformation in your outer world will follow with mathematical precision. The dimensionality of assumption. Your assumption exists in multiple dimensions of being. At the most surface level, there is intellectual assumption, the mere thought that something is true. Deeper is emotional assumption, the feeling that something is true. Deepest of all is what I call bodily assumption, the cellular knowing that something is true. To manifest your desire, your assumption must penetrate to this deepest level. It must become so much a part of you that every cell of your being vibrates with its truth. This is what Scripture means by believing with the heart. How do you achieve this depth of assumption? Through persistence and devotion to your imaginal acts. Through revising contrary thoughts and feelings the moment they arise. Through living, breathing, and having your being in the consciousness of your wish fulfilled. When your assumption reaches this dimension of bodily knowing, manifestation is not merely probable, it is inevitable. For at this level, you have truly become what you desire to be. And the outer world can only reflect this inner transformation. The law of detachment. A paradox confronts many who attempt to apply the law of assumption. The more desperately you desire something, the more you affirm its absence, and thus the more difficult its manifestation becomes. The solution to this paradox lies in what I call detachment. Not detachment from your desire, but detachment from the anxiety of its fulfillment. You must desire with passion, yet possess with indifference. When you assume you already have what you desire, anxiety dissolves. There is no need to be anxious about receiving what you already possess. This state of consciousness desiring without anxiety is the fertile ground in which manifestation thrives. Practice detachment by remembering that your desire in consciousness is already fulfilled. The only waiting is for your inner assumption to translate itself into outer circumstances. And this translation is governed by divine timing, not by your anxiety or effort. Detachment also means releasing the how of manifestation. Many block their desires by insisting they must come through a particular channel or by a particular means. True detachment says, this or something better, in divine timing and by divine means. The compound interest of assumption. Each time you successfully assume a state and manifest a desire, you strengthen your faith in the law. This faith then makes your next assumption more powerful, more deeply felt, more swiftly manifested. This is the compound interest of spiritual practice. Just as money invested earns interest, which, when reinvested, earns more interest, so your successful applications of the law of assumption earn spiritual interest, which, when reinvested in new assumptions, yields greater and swifter manifestations. Those who appear to manifest effortlessly have simply accumulated this spiritual capital. They have proven the law to themselves so completely that doubt no longer dilutes their assumptions. You too can accumulate this capital by beginning with small, believable assumptions. As these manifest, use the increased defeat to fuel larger assumptions. In time, you'll find yourself capable of assumptions that would have seemed impossible to your former self. The neutralization of negative states. One of negative assumptions that seem to cling to consciousness despite your best efforts. For these, I offer the practice of neutralization. When a negative thought or feeling arises, do not fight it. Fighting gives it power, validity. Instead, observe it dispassionately. Say to yourself, this thought has no power except that which I give it. I now withdraw that power. Then deliberately assume the opposite state. If fear rises, consciously enter a state of courage. If lack presents itself, immediately assume abundance. This active assumption of the opposite state neutralizes the negative and establishes the positive in its place. With consistent practice, you will find that negative states lose their grip on your consciousness. They may still arise, but they will pass through like clouds in the sky, unable to take root and manifest in your world. The bridge of incidents. Between your present state and the fulfillment of your desire lies what I call the bridge of incidents, a series of seemingly unrelated events that lead to your manifestation. You need not concern yourself with the construction of this bridge. Your only responsibility is to maintain the assumption of your wish fulfilled. The bridge will form itself, often in ways your conscious mind could never have devised. Many abandon their assumptions because the bridge of incidents does not match their expectations. They assume wealth, then dismiss a surprise phone call from an old acquaintance because it doesn't seem related to money. Yet that call might have been the first plank in the bridge to their financial abundance. Trust the wisdom of consciousness to build your bridge. It has access to infinite intelligence and can coordinate countless factors beyond your awareness. Your task is simply to maintain your end. Point the consciousness of your wish fulfilled and allow the bridge to form naturally between your present and that destination. The all law of correspondence. As above, so below, as within, so without. This ancient Hermetic axiom expresses the law of correspondence, which underlies all manifestation. Your inner world must correspond to your desired outer world. If you seek order in your environment, you must first establish order in your consciousness. If you seek love in your relationships, you must first embody love in your consciousness. If you seek abundance in your finances, you must first cultivate the consciousness of abundance within. This correspondence is not causal but identical. Your outer world does not reflect your inner world, it is your inner world, expressed in the language of form and circumstance. Just as steam and ice are the same substance in different forms, so your inner and outer worlds are the same substance consciousness in different expressions. When you truly comprehend this law, you will cease trying to manipulate the outer world directly. You will instead devote yourself to the transformation of consciousness, knowing with absolute certainty that the outer must correspond to the inner by immutable law. The art of prayer. True prayer is not petition or supplication. It is not begging an external deity for favors. Prayer, rightly understood, is the assumption of the consciousness of your wish fulfilled. Whatsoever things ye desire, when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them. This scripture reveals the true nature of effective prayer. It is the act of assuming the feeling of your desire is already fulfilled. When you pray for abundance, do not beg to be made wealthy. Instead, enter the consciousness of wealth. Feel the relief, the security, the freedom of wealth as a present fact. This feeling assumption is your prayer, and it cannot go unanswered because consciousness is the only reality. The answer to prayer is not the granting of a request by an external power. It is the natural manifestation in the outer of what has been established in consciousness. As you assume in consciousness, so will you experience in the outer world. This is not miraculous intervention, but cosmic law, the gestation of assumption. Just as a seed planted in soil requires time to germinate and grow, so your assumption requires time to manifest in the visible world. This interval between the planting of your assumption and its visible manifestation I call the gestation period. During this gestation, circumstances may appear to contradict your assumption. This is the supreme test of your faith in the law. Will you abandon your assumption when the evidence of your senses denies it? Or will you maintain your assumption regardless of appearances? Those who manifest successfully are those who understand this gestation period and respect its necessity. They do not uproot their seed to check if it is growing. They do not abandon their assumption because it has not yet visibly manifested. They maintain their assumption through the darkness of gestation, confident in the law that brings all things to harvest in their appointed time. The length of this gestation varies according to the nature of your desire, the strength of your assumption, and the degree to which your subconscious accepts your new concept of self. Some manifestations occur almost instantly, others require months or even years of faithful assumption. But be assured of this, no sincere assumption, maintained with faith through the gestation period, can fail to manifest. This is law, not chance or caprice. The cultivation of awareness. To master the art of assumption, you must cultivate awareness of your thoughts, feelings, inner conversations, and reactions. For it is these that reveal your actual assumptions, which may differ from what you believe you are assuming. Many claim to be assuming wealth, while their inner conversation is filled with thoughts of limitation. Many declare they are assuming health, while they constantly rehearse symptoms and medical concerns in their minds. These conflicting assumptions neutralize each other, resulting in no significant change. Become aware of your actual assumptions by monitoring your spontaneous thoughts, especially upon waking and before sleep. Notice your reactions to daily events. These reveal the assumptions that are actually operating in your consciousness. Once aware, you can consciously revise these assumptions. Replace thoughts of limitation with thoughts of abundance. Substitute fear with confidence, resentment with forgiveness, jealousy with appreciation. This is not suppression, but conscious transformation of the seeds you are planting in the soil of consciousness. The outer search and the inner knowing. Many spend their lives in an outer search for fulfillment, seeking the right job, the right relationship, the right investment, the right location. This outer search is destined for disappointment, for what you seek is not outside you but within. The kingdom of heaven is within you. All that you could ever desire, all the love, abundance, health, and fulfillment exists now within your consciousness. Your task is not to obtain these states, but to appropriate them through the power of assumption. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are not reaching for something external, but claiming what is already yours. This is the inner knowing that makes the outer search unnecessary. Those who live from this inner knowing move through life with quiet confidence. They do not struggle to make things happen, for they know that what is established in consciousness must manifest by cosmic law. Their actions flow not from desperate striving, but from inspired guidance, for consciousness itself orchestrates the bridge of incidents that leads to manifestation. The dynamics of faith. Faith is not a commodity to be acquired, but a state to be entered. It is not belief in something external, but consciousness of something internal. True faith is the feeling of the wish fulfilled. When you assume the feeling of your desire, you are exercising faith in its highest form. You are demonstrating faith, not in a future possibility, but in a present reality, the reality of your consciousness as the one creative power. Many seek faith as though it were a magic ingredient to be added to their manifestation recipe. But faith is the recipe itself. It is the assumption of the reality of your desiring consciousness before its appearance in the outer world. Those who say, if only I had more faith, I could manifest my desires, misunderstand the nature of faith. You do not need more faith. You need more faithful application of the faith you already possess. You need more consistent, more devoted assumption of the consciousness of your wish fulfilled. This faith, this assumption, is not something you do once and then await results. It is a state you occupy continuously until your desire manifests. It is a living in the consciousness of your wish fulfilled, a dwelling in the secret place of the Most High, your own wonderful human imitation, the supreme surrender. The final secret of effective assumption is what I call the supreme surrender. This is not surrender to external forces or circumstances, but surrender to the wisdom of your consciousness. Many approach manifestation with rigid expectations of how their desire must be fulfilled, through what channels, by what means, and in what time frame. This rigidity blocks the infinite intelligence of consciousness, which may have prepared channels of manifestation far superior to those you have imagined. The supreme surrender says, I know what I desire to be, but I surrender the means and timing of its manifestation to the wisdom of consciousness itself. This surrender opens the floodgates of manifestation, allowing your desire to flow into expression through the most effective and appropriate channels. Those who manifest with seeming effortlessness have mastered this surrender. They maintain the consciousness of their wish fulfilled while releasing all anxiety about the how and when of its manifestation. They trust the bridge of incidents to form perfectly, led by an intelligence far greater than the reasoning mind. The birth of the new self. When your assumption has been maintained faithfully through the gestation period, you experience what can only be called a rebirth. The old self with its limitations and problems dies. A new self embodying your assumption is born. This rebirth is not merely psychological, but ontological, a fundamental shift in your state of being. You do not simply think differently or feel differently, you are different. And because you are different, your world must be different to match this new state of being. The scripture speaks of being born again, not of flesh, but of spirit. This spiritual rebirth is the transformation of consciousness that occurs when your assumption completely displaces your former concept of self. It is the putting off of the old man and the putting on of the new. Many seek to improve their circumstances while maintaining their old concept of self. This is futile. You cannot be the same and have a different world. You must become different in consciousness, and then by law your world will reflect this difference. The immortality of consciousness. Let us speak finally of the greatest implication of the law of assumption, the immortality of consciousness itself. If consciousness is the only reality, and all else is its outpicturing, then consciousness cannot be subject to birth and death. It is eternal, infinite, unchangeable in its essence. What changes are the states that consciousness occupies, not consciousness itself. When you assume a state in consciousness, you are not creating something new, but entering something eternal. Every possible state already exists in the infinity of consciousness. Your assumption is not creation, but selection, choosing which of these eternal states you will occupy and thus experience. This understanding liberates you from the fear of death. For what dies is never consciousness, but only a particular expression of it. It liberates you from the limitations of time. For in consciousness, all times past, present, and future exists simultaneously in the eternal now. When you assume the state of your wish fulfilled, you are not projecting a future possibility, but entering a present actuality in consciousness. The time lag between this assumption and its physical manifestation is not the creation of your desire, but the transition of an eternal spiritual reality into temporal physical expression. The promise and the Eli. Throughout the scriptures, two great themes intertwine: the promise and the law. The promise is the assurance of your ultimate awakening to your true identity as God individualized. The law is the principle by which you manifest your desires while on the journey to that awakening. Tonight I have shared with you the law of assumption by which you can manifest anything you desire. This is not the end of your spiritual journey, but a means by which you can journey in comfort and joy. Use this law. Test it in the laboratory of your early experience. Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Persist through the gestation period. And watch as your assumption hardens into physical fact. Do this not once, but consistently, proving to yourself the reality of this principle. As you do so, you will gain more than the fulfillment of your desires. You will gain insight into the nature of consciousness itself. You will begin to understand your own divine identity as the operant power in the universe. And in time, this understanding will lead you to the fulfillment of the promise, the realization that you are God himself individualized for the purpose of experiencing his infinite being in finite expression. The invitation to experience. And so, my beloved friends, I leave you with this invitation. Do not believe what I have told you tonight. Experience it. For truth is never truly known until it is experienced. Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Persist in that assumption. Watch as the law confirms itself in the objectification of your assumption. Then you will know, not as one who has been persuaded by argument, but as one who has encountered reality. The power I speak of is not outside you. It is not to be worshipped or beseeched. It is your own wonderful human imagination, God in action within you. Use it lovingly, use it consciously, use it faithfully, and it will transform your world from the inside out. For imagination creates reality. Assumption hardens into fact. And consciousness is the one and only reality. Choose wisely the assumptions you entertain, for they will become the story of your life. Choose the highest, the noblest, the most loving assumptions, and you will experience the highest, noblest, most loving reality. This is the law and the prophets. This is the secret of the ages, hidden from the wise and prudent, and revealed unto babes, those willing to approach life with the innocent wonder of assuming their heart's desires with unwavering faith. Tonight you have received the key to the kingdom. Use it. Enter. Possess. For the kingdom of your fulfilled desires awaits only your assumption of its reality in consciousness. The world is yourself pushed out. Change yourself and you change your world. This is the great truth upon which all successful living depends. This is the power of assumption, the creative power of your own wonderful human imagination. This principle, when fully understood and applied with unwavering faith, will elevate you to heights you've scarcely imagined possible. The principle I speak of is encapsulated in these simple yet profound words: act as if you are the best. No one is better than you. Now you may be thinking, Neville, isn't this arrogance? Isn't this contrary to humility and modesty? And to that I say, my dear friends, you have been misled by the limitations of your physical senses and societal conditioning. For what I speak of is not ego-driven arrogance, but rather a profound understanding of your true nature, your divine essence. Consider for a moment the nature of the universe itself. Is it not a manifestation of perfection, of divine order? And are you not an integral part of this universe, a unique expression of the divine? When you truly grasp this truth, you will understand that acting as if you are the best is not arrogance, but an alignment with your true divine nature. Let us delve deeper into this concept as it applies to your life, to your consciousness, which is the one and only reality. When you act as if you are the best, you are making a powerful declaration to your subconscious mind and to the universe at large. You are stating with absolute conviction that you embody the highest and best qualities, that you are capable of greatness in all areas of your life. This, my friends, is the secret to unlocking your full potential, to manifesting your deepest desires and grandest dreams. For your outer world is nothing more than a reflection of your inner beliefs and assumptions. When you assume the feeling of being the best, when you act from a place of unshakable confidence and self-assurance, you are reshaping your entire world. Let us explore this principle through the lens of various aspects of life. In matters of career and professional achievement, many hold themselves back, doubting their abilities, comparing themselves unfavorably to others. But I tell you, this self-doubt is the very thing that creates the experience of mediocrity and failure. When you act as if you are the best in your field, when you carry yourself with the confidence of a top performer, you are telling your subconscious mind, I am capable of greatness. I am worthy of success. Imagine, if you will, a musician preparing for a performance. If they step onto the stage doubting their abilities, comparing themselves to other musicians, how can they possibly give their best performance? But if they step onto that stage fully embodying the belief that they are the best, that no one can play this piece better than they can, their performance will be transformed. They will play with a confidence, a passion, a mastery that will captivate their audience. The same principle applies to every area of your life. Whether you are a business person closing a deal, a parent raising a child, an athlete competing in a sport, or an artist creating a masterpiece, when you act as if you are the best, you tap into a wellspring of power and ability that you may not have even known existed within you. Now, some of you may be thinking, but Neville, I'm just starting out in my field. How can I act as if I'm the best when I have so much to learn? To this I say, it is not about denying the need for growth and learning. It is about assuming the state of the person you wish to become. When you act as if you are already the best, you accelerate your growth. You attract opportunities for learning and advancement. You become a magnet for success. Remember the biblical injunction, let the weak say, I am strong. This is not about denial or deception. It is about aligning yourself with your highest potential, your divine nature. When you say, I am strong from a place of weakness, you are not lying to yourself. You are declaring your true nature, calling forth the strength that already exists within you. Let us now turn our attention to the realm of relationships and personal interactions. Many approach relationships from a place of insecurity, always seeking validation, always comparing themselves to others. But I tell you, the secret to magnetic, fulfilling relationships to act as if you are the best to carry yourself with unshakable self-assurance and self-love. Think of self-love and confidence as a fragrance you wear. When you truly love and believe in yourself, when you act as if you are the best version of yourself, you radiate an energy that attracts others to you. People are naturally drawn to those who exude confidence and self-assurance. By acting as if you are the best, you not only transform your own experience of life, but also inspire and uplift those around you. In the realm of personal growth and self-improvement, the same principle applies. There are those who constantly berate themselves for their shortcomings, who focus on their flaws and limitations. But I tell you, this self-criticism is counterproductive. When you act as if you are the best, when you focus on your strengths and potential rather than your perceived weaknesses, you create the mental and emotional conditions for rapid growth and transformation. Consider the great achievers throughout history. Did they not act as if they were the best, even before their greatness was recognized by the world? Did they not have an unshakable belief in their abilities, their vision, their potential? It was this very belief, this acting as if they were the best, that allowed them to persevere in the face of challenges, to push beyond perceived limitations, to achieve what others thought impossible. Now, let us address a common concern that arises when discussing this principle. Many fear that acting as if they are the best will lead to complacency, to a lack of drive for improvement. But understand this: true greatness, true mastery is not a destination but a journey. When you act as if you are the best, you are not claiming perfection or completion. You are aligning yourself with your highest potential, committing yourself to continuous growth and improvement. Moreover, when you truly embody this principle, you understand that being the best means constantly striving to be better. It means setting higher standards for yourself, pushing your boundaries, expanding your capabilities. The true master, the one who acts as if they are the best, is always a student, always seeking to learn, to grow, to evolve. Let me share with you a personal experience that illustrates the power of this principle. When I first began my career as a lecturer and teacher of these universal truths, I was filled with self-doubt. I compared myself to other speakers, other teachers, always feeling that I fell short. But then I made a decision. I decided to act as if I were the best teacher of these principles, as if no one could convey these truths more effectively than I could. The transformation was immediate and profound. My lectures became more powerful, more impactful. My audience grew and I began to receive invitations to speak at larger venues. But more importantly, I found myself growing, evolving, deepening my understanding of these principles in ways I never had before. By acting as if I were the best, I called forth the best within me. And I continue to do so every day. This principle extends beyond individual achievement. It applies to every role you play in life. As a parent, act as if you are the best parent your child could possibly have. As a friend, act as if you are the most loyal, supportive friend anyone could ask for. As a citizen, act as if you are the most responsible, engaged member of your community. Consider for a moment the nature of your thoughts. Your thoughts are creative power, shaping your reality moment by moment. When you think thoughts of mediocrity, of not being good enough, you create experiences that reflect these beliefs. But when you consistently think thoughts of being the best, of excellence, of mastery, you set in motion forces that will bring these experiences into your life. Now I can hear some of you thinking, but Neville, what about humility? Doesn't the Bible teach us to be humble? And to this I say, true humility is not thinking less of yourself. It's thinking of yourself less. When you act as if you are the best, you are not placing yourself above others. You are simply recognizing and honoring the divine potential within you, the same divine potential that exists within all beings. Think of yourself as a unique instrument in the grand orchestra of the universe. To act as if you are the best is to play your part to the fullest, to contribute your unique tone to the cosmic symphony. It is not about being better than others, but about being the best version of yourself, about fully expressing your divine nature. Let us now explore how you can begin to apply this principle in your daily life. Start by observing your self-talk, the inner conversation you have with yourself. How often do you downplay your abilities, doubt your worth, compare yourself unfavorably to others? Make a conscious decision to change this inner dialogue. Speak to yourself as you would to someone you deeply admire and respect. As you go about your day, carry yourself as if you are the best at what you do. Stand tall, move with purpose, speak with conviction. Act as if success is not just possible, but inevitable. Act as if you are already living your ideal life, as if you have already achieved your grandest dreams. Remember, the outer world is a reflection of your inner state. As you cultivate this feeling of being the best within yourself, your outer world will begin to reflect this belief back to you. You will find yourself attracting opportunities that align with your newfound sense of self-worth. You will notice people responding to you differently, treating you with greater respect and admiration. But here's a crucial point. Do not act as if you are the best out of a need to prove yourself to others or to gain their approval. Act as if you are the best because it is the truth of your being, because it aligns you with your divine nature. The opinions of others are irrelevant. What matters is your own conviction, your own unwavering belief in yourself. As you embrace this principle, you may find that your entire perspective on life begins to shift. Challenges that once seemed insurmountable will appear as opportunities for growth and self-expression. Failures will no longer devastate you, for you will see them as valuable lessons on your journey of continuous improvement. Success will no longer surprise you, for you will see it as the natural result of your alignment with your true, divine nature. Consider the words of Jesus, "Be ye perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect." This is not a command to achieve some impossible standard of perfection. It is a reminder of your true nature, your divine essence. To act as if you are the best is to align yourself with this divine perfection, to allow it to express itself through you in all that you do. Now let us address another aspect of this principle, the impact it has on your ability to serve others. When you act as if you are the best, when you fully step into your power and potential, you become capable of making a greater positive impact on the world around you. You become a beacon of inspiration for others, a living example of what is possible when one fully embraces their divine nature. Many hold themselves back from fully expressing their gifts, from stepping into their power, out of a misguided sense of humility or a fear of outshining others. But I tell you, by dimming your light, by playing small, you are not serving anyone. The world needs you to be your best self, to fully express your unique gifts and talents. By acting as if you are the best, you give others permission to do the same. Let us now turn our attention to the realm of creativity and self-expression. When you act as if you are the best, you free yourself from the paralyzing effects of self-doubt and comparison. You allow your unique creative voice to emerge, unencumbered by fears of judgment or criticism. Think of the great artists, inventors, and innovators throughout history. They did not create their masterpieces by doubting their abilities or constantly comparing themselves to others. They acted as if they were the best, as if their vision and their voice were uniquely valuable and worthy of expression. And in doing so, they brought forth works that continue to inspire and transform the world. You too have within you a wellspring of creativity, a unique perspective, a distinctive voice. When you act as if you are the best, you give yourself permission to fully express this creativity. You silence the inner critic that would hold you back, and you allow your true self to shine forth in all its brilliance. Now let us address a question that often arises when discussing this principle: what about competition? How can everyone be the best? And to this I say, true greatness is not about competing with others. It's about competing with yourself, about constantly striving to be a better version of yourself than you were yesterday. When you act as if you are the best, you are not claiming superiority over others. You are simply committing to bringing your best self to every situation, to every interaction, to every task. You are declaring your intention to live up to your own highest standards, regardless of what others are doing. Moreover, when you truly embody this principle, you understand that there is abundance in the universe. There is room for everyone to be their best self, to fully express their unique gifts. Your success does not come at the expense of others. On the contrary, as you step into your greatness, you create more opportunities for others to do the same. As we delve deeper into this principle, let us consider its application in the face of adversity and challenges. Life will inevitably present you with obstacles, with moments of doubt and uncertainty. It is in these moments that acting as if you are the best becomes most crucial. When faced with a challenge, ask yourself, how would the best version of myself handle this situation? Then act accordingly. Approach the challenge with confidence, with the unwavering belief that you have within you all the resources you need to overcome it. For in truth, every challenge is an opportunity for growth, for the further expression of your innate greatness. Consider the great leaders and visionaries who have changed the course of history. Did they not act as if they were the best, even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds? Did they not carry themselves with unshakable confidence and conviction, even when the world doubted them? It was this very attitude, this acting as if they were the best, that allowed them to persevere and ultimately triumph. Now, let us at the common obstacle that prevents many from fully embracing this principle, the fear of failure. Many hold back from acting as if they are the best because they fear that if they fail, they will be exposed as frauds or imposters. But I tell you, this fear is based on a fundamental misunderstanding of the nature of success and failure. Failure is not the opposite of success, it is a part of success. When you act as if you are the best, you understand that every failure is a stepping stone to greater achievement, every setback an opportunity for growth. You approach failure not with fear, but with curiosity and a determination to learn and improve. Moreover, when you truly embody the principle of acting as if you are the best, you understand that your worth is not determined by external outcomes. You are inherently valuable, inherently worthy, simply by virtue of your existence. Your successes do not make you more worthy, and your failures do not make you less worthy. You are already the best, simply by being who you are. As you embrace this truth, as you act from this place of inherent worth and confidence, you will find yourself taking more risks, pursuing bigger dreams, stepping out of your comfort zone. For you will understand that the greatest risk is not in failing, but in never fully expressing your true potential. Let us now explore the relationship between acting as if you are the best and your life's purpose. Many people struggle to find their purpose, feeling lost or unfulfilled, But I tell you, your purpose is intrinsically linked to your unique gifts, to the best version of yourself. As you act as if you are the best, as you fully step into your power and potential, you naturally align with your deepest purpose. Your purpose is not something external to be found, but something internal to be expressed. As you act as if you are the best, as you bring your highest self to every situation, you will find a sense of fulfillment and meaning that cannot be achieved through half-hearted efforts or playing small. Consider the great change makers and innovators throughout history. They found their purpose not by doubting themselves or playing it safe, but by fully embracing their potential, by acting as if they were the best at what they did. In doing so, they not only changed the world, but experienced a profound sense of alignment and fulfillment. You too have within you the power to make a difference, to contribute something unique and valuable to the world. As you embrace the principle of acting as if you are the best, you will naturally align with this deeper purpose. You will find yourself drawn to opportunities that allow you to express your unique gifts, to make your highest contribution to the world. Now, as we near the conclusion of our discourse, I want to impress upon you the importance of persistence in applying this principle. Acting as if you are the best, living from a place of unshakable confidence and self-assurance may feel unnatural at first. You may encounter resistance, both from within yourself and from others who are uncomfortable with your newfound confidence. But I urge you to persist. Make acting as if you are the best a habit, a way of life. Start each day by asking yourself, how would the best version of myself approach this day? How can I bring my highest self to every interaction, every task? As you do this consistently, you will find it becoming easier, more natural. It will become not something you do, but who you are. Remember, you are not alone in this journey. The same power that created the universe flows through you. The same intelligence that orchestrates the dance of galaxies is at work in your life, guiding you towards the full expression of your divine nature. Trust in this power. Align yourself with it by maintaining the unwavering practice of acting as if you are the best. In closing, I want to leave you with this thought: the state of being the best, of living in alignment with your highest potential, is not something external to be achieved. It is a state of consciousness to be assumed. As you act as if you are the best, as you live from this state of unshakable confidence and self-assurance, you are not pretending or deceiving yourself. You are aligning with your true nature, your higher self, the divine within you that knows no limitations. So go forth, my dear friends, and act as if you are the best in all that you do. Carry yourself with the confidence of one who knows their true worth. Speak with the authority of one who is aligned with their divine nature. Act with the certainty of one who understands that they are a unique and valuable expression of the infinite. Remember, the world is yourself pushed out. As you act as if you are the best, as you embody the state of confidence and self-assurance, you set in motion forces beyond your comprehension. You activate the law of assumption, drawing to yourself experiences that reflect your newfound sense of self-worth and capability. Let your every thought, word, and action spring from this new state of being. Let your inner conversation reflect the reality of being the best version of yourself. Speak to yourself and others as one who is fully aligned with their highest potential would speak. Carry yourself with the quiet confidence of one who knows that they are capable of greatness in all areas of life. And above all, have faith. Faith not as a mere belief, but as the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Let your faith in your own inherent worth and capability be unshakable. For it is the very force that will move mountains and part seas to bring about the manifestation of your grandest dreams and deepest desires. As we conclude, I want you to take a moment to fully embrace this truth. Close your eyes, if you will, and feel the reality of being the best version of yourself. Feel the confidence, the self-assurance, the sense of purpose and alignment. Let it permeate every cell of your being. Breathe it in. Let it fill your lungs, your heart, your entire body. Now, with this feeling firmly established within you, go forth into your day. Let this feeling be the lens through which you view the world. Let it inform your every interaction, your every decision. For as you do so, you are literally reshaping your reality, molding it to match your inner vision of being the best. Remember, my dear friends, you are divine beings, co-creators with the infinite. The power to shape your reality lies within you. It always has, and it always will. By choosing to act as if you are the best, to live from a place of unshakable confidence and self-assurance, you are claiming this power, stepping into your divine birthright. So I say to you, with all the love and conviction in my heart, act as if you are the best, for in the deepest, truest sense, you already are. The greatness is within you. Claim it, embody it, express it, and watch in awe as your outer world transforms to match your inner reality of being the best version of yourself. Go now and create a life of unparalleled achievement and fulfillment through the practice of acting as if you are the best. For you are the operant power, the divine creative force, the I am presence in your world. And all things are possible to you. Blessings upon you all, and may your journey be filled with the joy of self-discovery and the sweet satisfaction of living in alignment with your highest potential. Imagine, if you will, that you are standing before a vast, intricate tapestry. This tapestry represents your life woven with threads of various hues and textures. Each thread symbolizes a choice, a decision, an action you have taken. Some threads shimmer with golden light, representing moments of clarity and right action. Others may appear dull or tangled, reflecting times when you've strayed from your true path. Now I want you to realize a profound truth. You are the weaver of this tapestry. With every thought, every belief, and every action you add to this magnificent work of art. The question that we must ask ourselves is this: are we weaving our tapestry with intention and purpose, or are we allowing external forces to guide our hand? To focus on yourself is not an act of selfishness, as some might believe. Rather, it is the highest form of responsibility. For how can you serve the world? How can you uplift others if you yourself are not standing on solid ground? How can you offer light if your own flame flickers weakly in the wind of others' opinions and expectations? Let me share with you a fundamental principle that has the power to transform your life. The outer world is a reflection of your inner state. Everything you see, everything you experience, is a manifestation of your consciousness. This means that to change your world, you must first change yourself. This, my dear friends, is why focusing on yourself is not just important, it is essential. But what does it truly mean to focus on yourself? It means to turn your attention inward, to become intimately acquainted with the landscape of your mind and the longings of your heart. It means to observe your thoughts, to question your beliefs, and to align your actions with your highest ideals. Imagine for a moment that your mind is a garden. In this garden grow the flowers of your desires, the trees of your long-held beliefs, and yes, sometimes the weeds of doubt and fear. To focus on yourself is to become the diligent gardener of this inner landscape. It is to nurture the plants that bring beauty and fruit to your life, and to uproot those that drain your energy and cloud your vision. Now let us turn our attention to the second part of our theme, choose the right thing to do. This, my friends, is where the true art of living lies. For life presents us with countless choices every day, from the seemingly insignificant to the profoundly life-altering. How do we navigate this sea of possibilities? How do we discern the right path among the many that stretch before us? The answer lies not in some external set of rules or societal expectations. No, the answer lies within you. It is found in the still, small voice of your intuition, in the quiet whispers of your heart. To choose the right thing is to align your actions with your true self, with the highest version of who you are meant to be. Consider for a moment the last time you made a decision that felt truly right. Perhaps it was a choice to pursue a passion, to help someone in need, or to stand up for what you believe in. Recall the sense of alignment, the feeling of rightness that accompanied that choice. That, my dear listeners, is your inner compass guiding you towards your true path. But here's a truth that many find uncomfortable. Sometimes the right thing to do is not the easy thing to do. Sometimes it requires courage, sacrifice, or stepping into the unknown. This is where many falter, where many choose the comfortable wrong over the difficult right. Yet, I tell you this, every time you choose the right thing, even when it's hard, you are weaving a golden thread into the tapestry of your life. You are strengthening your character, expanding your consciousness, and aligning yourself more closely with your divine purpose. Let me share with you a powerful technique to aid you in making right choices. When faced with a decision, close your eyes and imagine yourself having made each possible choice. See yourself living with the consequences of each decision. How do you feel in each scenario? Which version of yourself stands taller, shines brighter? This exercise harnesses the power of your imagination to guide you towards the right path. Remember, your imagination is not mere fantasy, it is the creative force of the universe expressing itself through you. By imaginatively experiencing the outcomes of your choices, you are tapping into a wisdom far greater than mere logic or reason. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Neville, how can I focus on myself when I have so many responsibilities, so many people depending on me? To you, I say this. By focusing on yourself, by choosing the right thing to do, you become more capable of fulfilling those responsibilities, more able to support those who depend on you. Imagine a mighty oak tree. Its branches reach out, providing shade and shelter to many creatures. But what allows the oak to offer this support? It is its deep, strong roots, anchoring it firmly in the earth, drawing nourishment from the soil. You, my friends, are like this oak. By focusing on yourself, by nurturing your roots, you become strong enough to support not just yourself, but all those around you. Let us delve deeper into this concept of choosing the right thing to do. It's essential to understand that the right thing is not always clear-cut or universally defined. What is right for one person may not be right for another. The key lies in aligning your choices with your true self, your highest ideals, and your deepest values. Consider the story of a young artist I once knew. She had a secure job in a corporate office, one that provided financial stability and societal approval. Yet, every day she felt a part of herself wither away. The right choice for her was to leave that job and pursue her art full-time. To many, this seemed irresponsible, even foolish, but for her, It was the only path that allowed her to be true to herself. This brings us to an important point. Choosing the right thing often requires us to silence the noise of external expectations and societal conditioning. It demands that we tune in to our own inner voice, our own inner knowing. Imagine, if you will, that you are standing in the center of a great amphitheater. The seats are filled with all the people in your life, family, friends, colleagues, even strangers whose opinions you've internalized. They're all shouting their advice, their expectations, their judgments. Now, in the midst of this cacophony, can you hear your own voice? Can you discern your own true desires and values? This, my friends, is the challenge we face. To focus on ourselves and choose the right thing, we must learn to quiet this external noise. We must create space for silence, for introspection, for communion with our higher selves. But how do we do this in a world that seems to demand our constant attention and reaction? The answer lies in the power of your imagination and the practice of what I call mental dieting. Just as you are careful about what you put into your physical body, be vigilant about what you allow into your low intellectual emotional. Choose carefully what you read, what you watch, what conversations you engage in. Surround yourself with influences that uplift and inspire you, that remind you of your highest potential. Most importantly, practice the art of mental rehearsal. Each night, as you lay in bed, instead of rehashing the events of the day or worrying about tomorrow, use your imagination to rehearse being the person you aspire to be. See yourself making choices aligned with your highest self. Feel the satisfaction and joy of living true to your values. This mental rehearsal is not mere daydreaming. It is the active shaping of your consciousness, and therefore the shaping of your future experiences. For remember, the outer world is but a reflection of your inner state. Now, let us address a common misconception. Some believe that focusing on oneself and choosing the right thing to do is a one-time decision, a single moment of clarity and commitment. But I tell you this, it is a continuous process, a moment-by-moment choice to align with your highest self. Imagine you are sailing a ship across a vast ocean. Your destination, your vision of your ideal self and life is the North Star guiding your journey. But the journey itself is not a straight line. There are winds and currents that may push you off course. The act of focusing on yourself and choosing the right thing is the constant adjustment of your sails, the vigilant steering that keeps you moving in the right direction. There will be times when you lose sight of your star, when the skies are clouded by doubt, fear, or external pressures. In these moments, remember this, the star has not disappeared. It is always there, even when you cannot see it. Your task is to keep faith, to hold steady, and to wait for the clouds to part. This brings us to a crucial aspect of focusing on yourself and choosing the right thing, the power of persistence. The right path is not always the easy path. It may require you to face your fears, to step out of your comfort zone, to stand firm in the face of opposition. Consider the life of any great individual who has made a significant impact on the world. Whether it's an artist who revolutionized their field, a scientist who made groundbreaking discoveries, or a leader who fought for justice and equality. Their paths were rarely smooth or straightforward. They faced setbacks, criticism, and moments of doubt. But they persisted. They remained focused on their vision, on their inner knowing of what was right. You, my dear listeners, have this same power within you. The power to persist, to keep choosing the right thing, even when it's difficult, even when you can't yet see the results of your choices. But persistence does not mean rigid stubbornness. It does not mean clinging to a path that your heart tells you is no longer right. True persistence is coupled with flexibility and wisdom. It's the ability to adjust your course as you grow and evolve, while always moving towards your highest vision of yourself. Now let us explore another vital aspect of focusing on yourself and choosing the right thing, the practice of self-reflection. In the hustle and bustle of daily life, it's easy to lose touch with ourselves, to act on autopilot, reacting to circumstances rather than consciously choosing our path. Self-reflection is the antidote to this unconscious living. It is the practice of regularly turning our attention inward, of examining our thoughts, feelings, and actions with honesty and compassion. Imagine you are standing before a clear, still lake. The surface of the lake is like a perfect mirror, reflecting the sky and the surrounding landscape. This lake represents your consciousness. When it's cluttered with the debris of unchecked thoughts and emotions, its surface becomes turbulent, the reflection distorted. But when you take the time to still your mind, to clear away the mental clutter, your consciousness becomes like the calm lake, perfectly reflecting your true self and the world around you. Set aside time each day for this practice of self-reflection. It could be through meditation, journaling, or simply sitting in quiet contemplation. Ask yourself, are my actions aligned with my values? Am I making choices that serve my highest good and the good of others? What fears or limiting beliefs are holding me back from choosing the right path? This practice of self-reflection is not about judgment or self-criticism. It's about gaining clarity, about becoming intimately acquainted with the landscape of your own mind and heart. For how can you choose the right thing if you don't truly know yourself? As you engage in this practice, you may uncover aspects of yourself that you've been avoiding or denying. You may find old wounds that need healing, limiting beliefs that need challenging. This, my friends, is the gold hidden within the challenge of focusing on yourself. For in facing these shadowy aspects, in bringing them into the light of your awareness, you reclaim parts of yourself that have been lost or suppressed. Imagine each of these realizations, each moment of self-discovery as a key. These keys have the power to unlock doors within you, doors to greater authenticity, to deeper self-love, to more aligned choices. Now let us turn our attention to another crucial aspect of choosing the right thing, the cultivation of wisdom. Wisdom is not the same as knowledge. One can accumulate vast amounts of information without gaining true wisdom. Wisdom is the ability to see clearly, to discern truth from illusion, to understand the deeper currents of life. How do we cultivate this wisdom? It begins with openness. Openness to new ideas, to different perspectives, to the possibility that what we currently believe may not be the whole truth. It requires a willingness to question our assumptions, to look beyond the surface of things. Imagine your mind as a vast library. Each book in this library represents a belief, an idea, a perspective you hold. To cultivate wisdom is to regularly browse through this library, to take books off the shelves and examine them with fresh eyes. Some books you may choose to keep, finding that they still hold truth and value for you. Others you may decide to discard, realizing they no longer serve you. And always you remain open to adding new books, new ideas that expand your understanding. This cultivation of wisdom is essential in choosing the right thing to do. For the right choice is not always the obvious one, not always the one that aligns with conventional wisdom or societal expectations. Sometimes the right choice requires us to see beyond appearances to understand the deeper implications of our actions. Consider the parable of the Chinese farmer. When his horse ran away, his neighbor said, "What bad luck." The farmer replied, "Maybe when the horse returned, bringing with it a wild horse." The neighbor said, "What good luck?" The farmer replied, "Maybe when the farmer's son broke his leg trying to ride the wild horse." The neighbor said, "What bad luck?" The farmer replied. "Maybe when war broke out and the son was spared from conscription due to his broken leg." The neighbor said, "What good luck?" And again, the farmer replied, "Maybe." This parable illustrates the wisdom of suspending judgment, of recognizing that we often cannot see the full implications of events or choices in the moment. It teaches us to approach life with openness and equanimity, to trust in a larger process even when we can't see where it's leading. This brings us to another crucial point in focusing on yourself and choosing the right thing: the importance of trust. Trust in yourself, in your inner guidance, and in the unfolding of life itself. Many of us have been conditioned to doubt ourselves, to look outside for validation and direction. We've been taught to trust experts, authorities, societal norms more than our own inner knowing. But I tell you this, within you is a wisdom that surpasses all external knowledge. It is the wisdom of your higher self, your connection to the divine source of all creation. Trusting this inner wisdom doesn't mean ignoring external information or advice. It means filtering everything through your own discernment, your own felt sense of truth. It means being willing to stand in your truth even when it goes against the grain of popular opinion. Imagine you are standing at a crossroads. There are signposts pointing in different directions, each claiming to show the right way. There are voices all around you, some encouraging, some warning, each offering their opinion on which path you should take. But in the midst of all this, there is a quiet voice within you, a feeling and a knowing pointing you in a particular direction. Trusting yourself means having the courage to follow that inner guidance, even if you can't rationally explain why it feels right. This trust is not built overnight. It is cultivated through practice, through small acts of faith in yourself. Each time you honor your inner knowing, each time you choose to do what feels right despite doubts or external pressure, you strengthen this trust. You weave a stronger connection to your higher self. Now, as we focus on ourselves and strive to choose the right thing, it's crucial to address the role of forgiveness, both of others and, perhaps more importantly, of ourselves. For many of us, the path of self-focus and right action is hindered by the weight of past mistakes, regrets, and perceived failures. Imagine you are carrying a heavy backpack filled with stones. Each stone represents a past action you regret, a choice you had made differently, a moment when you feel you failed to do the right thing. How can you move forward freely? How can you make clear choices for your highest good when you're weighed down by this burden? Forgiveness is the act of emptying this backpack. It's not about condoning harmful actions or denying the impact of past choices. Rather, it's about releasing the emotional charge, the self-judgment that keeps you tethered to the past. To forgive yourself is to recognize that you, like all humans, are on a journey of growth and learning. Every choice you've made, even those you now regret, has served a purpose in your evolution. Each mistake has been a teacher, offering valuable lessons that have shaped who you are today. Engage in this practice, close your eyes and imagine yourself standing before a younger version of you, the you who made those choices you now regret. Look at this younger self with compassion. Recognize the limitations of knowledge, awareness, or circumstances that influence those choices. Now extend forgiveness to this younger self. Feel the lightness, the release that comes with this forgiveness. Remember, focusing on yourself and choosing the right thing is not about achieving perfection. It's about continuous growth, about making conscious choices aligned with your highest self in each moment. And this process includes forgiving yourself when you fall short, when you temporarily lose your way. This practice of self-forgiveness opens the door to greater self-love and self-acceptance. And from this place of self-love, you are far more capable of making choices that truly serve your highest good and the good of others. Now, let us delve into another crucial aspect of focusing on yourself and choosing the right thing, the power of your words. The words you speak, both to others and in the privacy of your own mind, are far more than mere sounds or symbols. They are creative forces that shape your reality. Imagine that every word you speak is like a seed planted in the fertile soil of the universe. The thoughts and emotions attached to these words are like the water and sunlight that nourish these seeds, causing them to grow and bear fruit in your life. Are you planting seeds of positivity, of growth of love? Or are your words sowing doubt, limitation, and fear? Pay close attention to your habitual phrases, to the way you talk about yourself and your life. Are you constantly affirming your capabilities, your worthiness, your worthy to choose wisely and act rightly? Or do you often engage in self-deprecation, in expressions of doubt or unworthiness? This awareness of your words extends to your inner dialogue as well. The conversations you have with yourself in the privacy of your mind are perhaps the most powerful of all. For these are the words that shape your deepest beliefs about yourself and your place in the world. Practice speaking to yourself with kindness, with encouragement, with unwavering faith in your ability to focus on what truly matters and to choose the right path. When you catch yourself in negative self-talk, gently but firmly redirect your thoughts. Replace phrases like I can't or I'm not good enough with empowering alternatives. I am capable of growth and learning, or I trust in my ability to make wise choices. This mindful use of language is not about denial or forced positivity. It's about consciously choosing words that align with your highest vision of yourself.